Each NBA season, we see two things happen. Some of our favorite players start to decline, while others play outstanding basketball to save their careers. Today, we'll talk about 4 players who fall into each group. I'm Calvin Caracciolo, and this is Courtside Canucks. We'll begin with someone saving his career, Kristaps Porzingis. He started his NBA career on a high note with the New York Knicks after being selected 4th in the 2015 NBA draft. His initial years were marked by standout performances thanks to his height, shooting skills, and defensive ability, earning him the nickname the Unicorn and an All-Star selection in 2018. However, a serious ACL injury in 2018 changed his career path. This injury caused him to miss the final 27 games of the 2017-2018 season and the entire 2018-2019 season. Towards the end of his stint with the Knicks, Porzingis became disillusioned, leading to his trade to the Dallas Mavericks in 2019. He was frustrated by the Knicks' consistent losing. They hadn't won more than 32 games this season since drafting him. Additionally, Porzingis was discontent with the Knicks' management, particularly over how they managed the end of Carmelo Anthony's time with the team and the public trade talks involving Kristaps by Phil Jackson. Porzingis even skipped his season-ending exit interview, showing his unhappiness. After joining the Mavericks in 2019, his scoring average and shooting percentage remained around 20 points and 45% respectively. However, his ability to consistently play was compromised. While he played 75% of games each year in his first 2 seasons with the Knicks before his injury, this dropped to just 68% per year in his 2 full seasons with the Mavs. The Mavericks traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards in 2022 because they were worried about paying him over $30 million a year for the next 3 seasons. They also noticed that the team didn't play much better when both Porzingis and rising star Luka Doncic were on the court together, compared to just Doncic. He played well for the Washington Wizards, averaging a career-high 23 points per game on 48% shooting, but still, his team was abysmal. In his only full season, they won just 35 games and missed the play-in tournament. This left Kristaps in a strange position, falling from a unicorn with unlimited potential upside down to an injury-prone player who's never available, to a third option on the Mavs who doesn't make the team better, to an empty stats guy on the Wizards who can't win a game. Porzingis was poised to slowly fade into obscurity in Washington. That is until he was traded in June 2023 to the Boston Celtics. Kristaps is making most of the easiest shots he's gotten in his whole career while defenders focus on Tatum and Brown. He's averaging 20 points per game, hitting a career-high 50% of his overall shots and 41% from three-point range. This season is his most efficient ever, and it's the first time on a great team. Porzingis is showing that he's more than just an empty stats player. He's really helping his team aim for a championship. When someone says he's falling off this year, many fans take it personally, especially if it's about their favorite player. Aside from freaks like LeBron James, typically, NBA players hit their peak performance in their mid to late 20s. As they enter their early 30s, it's common to see a decline in their abilities, and maintaining a star-level performance into the mid-30s is quite rare. Focusing on James Harden, there have been signs indicating his decline. While he was a standout player with the Houston Rockets, his performance has significantly worsened since his recent trade to Los Angeles Clippers. It wasn't long ago that Harden was so dominant with the Rockets that opponents had to guard him from behind to counter his step-back jumper. However, persistent injuries have limited his playtime, slowing him down considerably. Despite hopes that Harden's shooting ability and playmaking ability would gracefully withstand the test of time, this hasn't been the case. His commitment has been questioned, as he seems to disengage from the last 3 teams he played with. In the 2020 and 2021 seasons split between Houston and Brooklyn, his average of 22 points per game, along with a 41% overall shooting and 33% from three-point range, were the lowest since his early years with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The following year split between Brooklyn and Philadelphia, his performance didn't improve. Playing only 58 games, he averaged just 21 points, a steep drop from his 30-point average in Houston. While with the Philadelphia 76ers, Harden had some standout moments, including a 45-point game against the Celtics in the playoffs, but he also had disappointing performances, notably Game 7 of the same series where he scored only 9 points and had 5 turnovers, contributing to the team's elimination. After clashing with Philadelphia's president Daryl Morey and forcing a trade to the Clippers, Harden's start in Los Angeles has been extremely poor, arguably the worst phase of his career. The Clippers, initially performing well, lost 5 straight games following Harden's arrival, In these games, Harden averaged a mere 15 points per game and saw a significant decrease in assists, dropping from an average of around 10 per game to just 4. Clippers coach Ty Lue expressed concern, suggesting Harden was trying too hard to integrate himself into the team rather than taking charge. I hope that Harden can regain his form, but at 34, it seems the days of him being a superstar might be over. I want to discuss Kelly Oubre next. Known as one of the most fashionable players in the league, Oubre has been a fan favorite for much of his career, despite a few challenging seasons. However, he made a remarkable turnaround at the start of this season. Kelly was picked 15th overall in the 2015 NBA draft by the Atlanta Hawks, but was quickly traded to the Washington Wizards. During his 3+ seasons with the Wizards, Oubre grew into an important player for the team, increasing his playing time from 10 to 28 minutes per game. He's known for his strong defense and growing offensive skills. In the 2017-2018 season, he had a breakthrough, averaging 12 points per game and achieving a defensive rating of 108.6. In 2018, Oubre moved to the Suns, where his career took a notably positive turn. In Phoenix, he averaged a career-high 19 points and 6 rebounds per game, with a personal best 45% field goal percentage in the 2019-2020 season. However, a knee injury and a subsequent trade impacted his trajectory. On February 27, 2020, it was reported that Kelly suffered a torn meniscus, sidelining him for a period. He was then traded to the Warriors in November 2020, where he faced difficulties. While he had months of impressive scoring, he didn't quite gel with the Warriors and his performance declined. Oubre then joined the Hornets in 2021, and while his scoring improved, the team didn't perform well, failing to reach the playoffs during his 2-year tenure. This brings us to the current season. With interest in Oubre waning around the league, he signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers for just $2.9 million, but his start to the season has been outstanding. The Sixers are the second best team in the Eastern Conference, with a record of 8-3, and Kelly was playing over 25 minutes per game, posting a career-high player efficiency rating of 17.6. Unfortunately, on November 11th, Kelly was hit by a car and sustained serious injuries. I'm really hoping for his quick recovery and that he can return to his recent excellent form once he's healed. I need to talk about a basketball legend whose recent performance might signal the nearing end of his career, Chris Paul. As a big fan, I recognize that Chris Paul is one of the all-time great point guards, but even legends slow down at some point. His career began with the New Orleans Hornets, where he was the 4th overall pick in 2005. He quickly made a name for himself, winning Rookie of the Year and earning his first All-Star selections. In 2011, Chris Paul moved to the Clippers, ushering in the Lob City era. He was phenomenal, throwing alley-oops to high flyers like Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. Absolutely loved watching this team. They were a consistent threat in the Western Conference. Paul's journey took him to the Rockets in 2017, where he played with James Harden. They nearly reached the NBA Finals, missing out by just 1 game. His career then led him to Oklahoma City and Phoenix, including a memorable finals run in 2021. Ahead of this season, Paul was traded to the Golden State Warriors. While many analysts say he's adjusting well to his new bench role with the Warriors, I can't overlook the evident decline in his performance. For the first time in his career, he isn't starting, playing only about 28 minutes per game, the lowest average of his career. His stats in his first 13 games are also at career lows, 9 points and 7 assists per game, with a mere 39% shooting from the field. True, Paul is an upgrade over Jordan Poole, but by his own standards, this season is his least efficient ever, with a player efficiency rating of just 14.1. To me, it's clear the glory days of Chris Paul are over. Now 38 and sitting at just 6 feet, it'll be a challenge for him to boost his efficiency. Let's talk about Dillon Brooks, a player who was improving every year until the end of last season. That's when, surprisingly, the NBA media, fans, and even his own team's management seemed to turn against him, only for him to turn things around at the start of this season. Known as the villain, he has worked hard for his playing time. He was picked in the 2nd round of the 2017 draft, 45th overall, and his journey with Memphis Grizzlies was marked by steady progress over 6 seasons, barring a couple of injury-hit years. He became a regular starter, known as the heart of the team for his tough and gritty style. However, Brooks was often criticized for his offense, which didn't quite match his elite defense. After missing the playoffs in his first 3 seasons, he played a key role in leading Memphis to 3 consecutive playoff appearances. In last year's playoffs, Brooks made some controversial comments and actions. He called LeBron James old, talked about liking to poke bears, and hit LeBron in the groin in Game 3. He also avoided post-game press conferences after losses, and this led the Grizzlies to state they wouldn't re-sign Brooks under any circumstances, a statement I find quite unprofessional for a team to make about their own player. Dillon felt he was being used as a scapegoat for the team's disappointing playoffs, and I agree. But this turn of events might have been the best thing for his career. Brooks signed a huge $86 million contract with the Houston Rockets in the offseason after helping Team Canada beat Team USA at the FIBA World Cup Championships and securing an Olympic berth for Canada for the first time since Steve Nash's early days. Questions arose about whether his FIBA success would translate to the NBA. It has. The Rockets, initially seen as a rebuilding team, started the season with a surprising 6-4 record, ranking 4th in the Western Conference, largely thanks to Brooks. Brooks' shooting has significantly improved, averaging 55% from the field and 53% from 3, both career highs. And the Memphis Grizzlies? They're struggling with a record of just 2-9. Having played against Dillon in a few games as a kid in Canada, it's awesome to see a fellow Canadian proving his haters wrong. Next up, we have one of the biggest what-if players in the league right now, Zion Williamson. Highly anticipated since high school, Zion has yet to meet the high expectations set for him in the NBA, and this season has been particularly troubling. Plagued by injuries and off-court distractions, including concerns about his diet in past years, this season was supposed to be his big comeback. There were numerous off-season reports suggesting Zion was finally getting serious. Rumors swirled about him finally training with the team, losing weight, being in shape, hopefully justifying his massive $231 million contract. Yet, the Pelicans have had a disappointing start to the season with a 5-6 record, and Zion seems to have regressed and appears visibly frustrated with the team. He's averaging only 21 points per game, the lowest of his career. His free throw percentage has dipped to 59%, another career low. He's attempted just one three-pointer and missed. Even his 2-point shooting percentage isn't great, with a career low field goal percentage of 52%. Recently he commented, "Right now, it's tough. I'm taking a little bit of a back seat right now. I'm trusting the process. I'm trying my best to buy in right now." It's concerning to hear a player earning $34 million per year talk about struggling to buy into the team's plan. I don't think this setback spells the end of Zion's career, but his drop from potential superstar status seems likely. Yes, he has athleticism, but it's uncertain whether he possesses the drive to improve or the skill to live up to his early hype. And that in itself is a significant decline. I'm going to talk about another player who's reviving their career, Hayward. He's in the final year of a 4-year, $120 million contract, and he's definitely playing like it's a contract year. At 33, this season is pivotal for Hayward to demonstrate that he still belongs in the league. During his last season with Utah, he was averaging 22 points per game and had a shooting percentage of 47%. His move to the Boston Celtics was marred by a devastating injury, a fractured tibia and dislocated ankle, just 6 minutes into the season opener, sidelining him for the entire 2017-2018 season. This injury was just the beginning, as he struggled with various injuries afterwards, playing more than 52 games in only one of the following 4 seasons. Coming into this season with the Charlotte Hornets, I honestly viewed Hayward as somewhat of an afterthought, and I doubt many were expecting much of a turnaround, yet he's proving us wrong. He is distributing a career-high 5 assists per game and achieving another personal best with 2 steals per game, all the while maintaining a solid scoring average of 17 points per game and shooting 47%. His player efficiency rating is at 17.6, the highest since his last season with Boston 4 years ago. There's always a chance of a decline for Hayward, and the Hornets, with a 3-7 record, aren't exactly a top team, but it's impressive to see that Hayward still has considerable skill left, and I believe he definitely deserves a place in the NBA next season. Gabe Vincent's performance has significantly dropped since the Lakers signed him to a 3-year, $33 million deal in the offseason. Prior to this, Gabe was on a minimum contract, earning only $1.8 million last year. The Lakers' decision to invest in him was largely influenced by his impressive playoff performance with the Miami Heat, who were the NBA final runners-up last season. In the playoffs, he averaged 12 points, 4 assists, and 1 steal per game, shooting 38% from the three-point line. This performance earned him 30 minutes per game, including standout performances in games 1 and 2 of the NBA Finals, where he scored 5 and 4 three-pointers respectively. However, his current form with the Lakers is a stark contrast to that level of play. He's only averaging 6 points per game, and his three-point shooting has plummeted to an abysmal 7%. That's just 1 for 14. He's made only 1 three-pointer in the 4 games he played before injuring his knee. which has sidelined him for the subsequent 8 games. I'm really hoping that Vincent's exceptional performance in the finals wasn't just a one-time showing, but the outlook doesn't seem promising.